been 4 years and now Supertri is back at its spiritual home, a 5th visit to Jersey in the Channel Islands, an island just 9 by 5 miles, 14 miles off the coast of France, on a course where the winners list reads like a who's who of triathlon, and 2 more will add their names to that list today. Let's take a look at the team's leaderboard. As it stands, Podium Racing are in pole position after the team picked up an incredible 105 points at home in Chicago, thanks to both race wins and great team tactics. Crown Racing, the defending champions, they must hit back today or they will risk losing touch. Stars and Stripes Racing under big pressure as well to try and stay in touch with Brownlee Racing in the race for that 3rd position overall. It's time to get straight into the women's racing. The storm clouds have cleared after a very wet morning here in Jersey, and the athletes will welcome that, although it is going to be treacherous conditions. Let's take a look at the start list in the women's. It's going to be a really interesting one, a little bit more steady than it was in Chicago. Anna Godoy comes in and joins the German pair of Annika Koch and Nina Eim at Stars and Stripes Racing. Jolien Vermeulen, the big hope for Brownlee Racing, although Fanny Zalai had a great podium in Chicago. Sienna Stevens comes in as a late replacement this morning for Nora Murr alongside Georgia Taylor-Brown at Crown Racing, and Jean Lahair and Leonie Perriot lead Podium Racing. There are short shoots on offer for the first swim, bike and run. The first across the mountain line, Jolien Vermeulen couldn't get it. She had a slip. Instead, it was Anna Godoy for Stars and Stripes Racing who picked one up for Parker Spencer. In the bike, a big group came in, and Jean Lahair, despite a bit of argy-bargy, we'll see here with Miriam Casillas just there, that put Casillas out of the running. Instead, just over the line was Lahair ahead of Godoy, getting one for John Anthony in Podium Racing. And a very quick finish to the first run, and a great transition saw Lahair pick up the run short shoot as well.
And a short shoot has been given to Perriot from Podium Racing.
Well, you know, I like that because that could really end up in a proper sprint finish, because if it was given to Lahair, that might give her a little bit of a gap. But we're going to find out how this one plays out. So these 3, only Perriot has the short shoot. There we go, we're in Podium 1-2, and they are going to be, well, having one hand on the championship trophy. Podium Racing, they went from 3rd to 1st in Chicago overall, and now they're 1 and 2 coming out of the water. Taylor Brown in 3rd. We'll see what she's got on the bike, Taylor Brown, because she knows that maybe she doesn't have the run for the other 2 as they go up the ramp for the last time. And we are into the business end of this one with 3 of the great triathletes. The front 3 come into transition, making sure they get everything right, doing the helmet up before they head out. Lahair has a good one, good flying mount as well, feet straight into the shoes, and all of these little moments are important.
The transitions are really interesting in Supertri, they really are. Lahair somehow, every single time, nails it. And I've noticed that Perriot and Taylor Brown have been losing time in transition, and we can see this because Jean Lahair now has daylight. These 2 will work together though, and I think they will get back onto the wheel of Lahair. But they've given themselves work to do, and that just all happened in transition.
Well, they call it the 4th discipline in normal racing. It's probably the first of the 4 disciplines in Supertri racing because there's 8 transitions to deal with, and getting everyone exactly right is important if you're going to stay anywhere near the front. And Jean Lahair has a little march on her competitors now. Maybe it's 5 seconds. She's got to get this right and make the turn well on an ever-drying and ever-changing bit of track here at the southern end of the track, and she leans into it and heads around well. Taylor Brown has the luxury of taking the line of Perriot, and they head back through the wind. Do you think she might stay away here?
She might do, but she's more tentative on the bike than the other 2. Jean Lahair's a great rider, but by her own admission, she doesn't like the more technical courses, and you can see the way she doesn't look as secure for me when she goes into the bend. The elbow's almost leaning downwards, and you don't really want to see that because that's when the back wheel can slip. But she's such a strong rider, so it will only be seconds that she will lose. But we can see now Georgia Taylor-Brown going, no way, you are not riding away from me. And rather Perriot and GTB are nearly on the wheel of Lahair again.
I'm absolutely blown away by the crowd that has come out, considering the tempestuous hurricane we had a couple of hours ago. They turn out in Jersey, and one man who's down there is Adam Leach.
John, the excitement's building there. You've just cheered your athletes through here. How do you see the state of this race?
Yeah, look, there's some racing left to do here, right? But Jean and Leonie are in a great place. Leonie has the short shoot. This is where fans need to pay attention. Leonie needs to let Georgia Taylor Brown do the work on this so that she can save her legs going onto the run. This is what race tactics are about in Supertri.
I'm hearing that Nina Eim has joined the elimination list, so the second of the two Stars and Stripes Germans is out, and he just shows you. I mean, Nina Eim is a former European sprint champion, and Annika Koch is a national sprint champion. They can't keep up with these athletes at the front, such is the pace, and there you go. Taylor Brown has taken and made that gap disappear, so Michael Gilliam will be happy. All right, we're really at the back end now. A couple of laps to go and then a run to the finish, and Taylor Brown, she's in front. Has to have a gap there though, Georgia Taylor Brown. You know, she doesn't have the run of the two podium athletes behind her. And, well, she does in sometimes, but maybe not at this exact juncture in her career. The other two are very fleet of foot, and Georgia Taylor Brown probably doesn't quite have the run speed to match the two of them, at least in the last couple of runs. So she needs to dig in on the bike, give herself a little gap and be able to control it somewhat.
I tell you what though, Will, Georgia Taylor Brown, I was chatting with her dad last night in the hotel, and I said I thought she was on a bit of a break this year after her bronze medal at the mixed relay in Paris, and she was just going to have a think about life. She has raced out of her skin. She's raced long, she's raced biking.
6 months she was out.
She was. She took some time out, and then she just missed it so much. This is what she loves, and I'd love to see her with slightly better run form, because I think she's going to have her work cut out come this final run. But who knows? It is Georgia Taylor Brown. She has 3 Olympic medals to her name, and absolutely anything is possible. But I think the run is going to be tough for her.
Yeah, look, I mean, she tried to break the other two, and then she couldn't. So in effect, all she's been able to do is drag them around somewhat, which is probably the opposite of what she hoped for. But now it's about making sure that transition is smooth, and the queen of transitions is always Jean Lahair. Jumps off beforehand, carries the bike around on the outside, which is the right way to do it. Perriot takes a bit of the A-frame with her from My Whoosh. Doesn't seem to stop her before, and it reminds me of what happened with Georgia Taylor Brown last time we were here. In fact, running into one of those A-frames and then taking the short shoot at the wrong time and causing all sorts of controversy, but that's behind us now. And look at that transition from Jean Lahair. She has pretty much put it to bed in just that moment. Taylor Brown comes out with Perriot together, but sprinting out of transition is Jean Lahair, and she wants another win to add to hers from last round.
I mean, there was a display of a perfect transition. And Leonie and Georgia are such talented athletes, but they fumbled, and you lose a few seconds and it's game over when you've only got a mile of running.
I don't even know if they fumbled that bad. I just think Jean Lahair's transition was so fast, it's not possible. It's almost like a Red Bull racing pit stop in 2 seconds, making all the other 3-second pit stops look ridiculous.
I mean, I feel a bit harsh to Georgia Taylor Brown and Lahair, because you're absolutely right. You watch Alex Yee and he does the same. He makes the other guys look super slow in transition. But Jan Lahair, I wonder what she thought when she found out she didn't have the short shoot.
I can tell you the gap's obviously coming up to 0 on the top left of your screen, but Jean Lahair is now 5 seconds ahead of Taylor Brown and Perriot, and then it's a further nearly 30 seconds, no, over 30 seconds back to Beth Cook, who's 3 seconds ahead of Jolie and Vermeulen. So Nina Eim is still coming up on the timing screens, which is putting everything out. But I can tell you that is the gaps just at the moment, at the start of this run. And Lahair is immediately 5 seconds. There is your 4th and 5th placed athletes from Brownlee Racing. And then behind them is Miriam Casillas and Maria Tomei, who's nearly 2 minutes back. No, nearly a minute and a half back. But is going to pick up important points for Brownlee Racing if she can avoid elimination at the end of this one lap. So, Lahair in the lead, around 1 kilometre to go. She comes down, back into transition once again, and she is absolutely sprinting. Perriot has moved past Taylor Brown and could equal her second position from Toronto, and there will be huge points on offer for John Anthony. Leonie Perriot has got a short shoot as well, and suddenly it's a master stroke from the manager.
It absolutely is indeed. What is going to happen here? Leonie Perriot is about to take the short shoot, but at the moment it's Lahair who's definitely in the lead. But Perriot is going to pull back a bit of time here, but it's not going to be enough.
Oh, it's going to be a gap on Taylor Brown, though.
It is certainly going to be a gap, but I think that Georgia Taylor Brown has already settled for third. She just doesn't quite have the run legs.
No, she doesn't. And now the question is, can Leonie Perriot challenge her teammate at the front? Probably the two fastest runners in short course triathlon at the moment, Leonie Perriot and Jean Lahair. Okay, despite the short shoot, I'm hearing that Anna Godoy has been eliminated, such as the pace at the front. So she pushed incredibly hard. I don't know if she had a moment there on the bike, but she's come through and been eliminated. So dropped down the field. Unfortunate for Anna Godoy, who was so strong. And now it looks like Georgia Taylor-Brown is going to need to settle for third. And disappointing for her, I suppose, although she's already picked up a second place, so she'll pick up good points to stay in the championship race. Well, she has a look behind her. She knows there's absolutely no one. She has a little smile. There's a huge crowd in Jersey, and they're going to welcome the Luxembourg athlete from podium racing. She's going to go back-to-back. Jean Lahair will lead into the grand final. She's got one hand on the championship, and she does it here in Jersey. Leonie Perriot is going to come in having gapped Georgia Taylor-Brown for second. Her run saves her yet again. Another second placing. She moves right into championship contention. Podium 1-2. Crown in third. Taylor-Brown here at home picks up a podium, and there is no one who is as good as these three. Jolien Vermeulen adds a fourth to her win in Toronto, and Beth Cook has the race of her career, the 21-year-old, to come across the line and see the quality around her. 1 minute and 1 second back in fifth. A minute separates the top five, and there is no one else except for those three in the far distance who are on their way down in front of this big crowd. It's a sprint finish. They have been stuck together the entire time. Maria Tomei, Fanny Zalayan, Miriam Casillas, they're going for 6th to 8th position in crucial points, and it's going to be the pipe-sized rocket. Tomei is going to take it ahead of Zalayan. You're going to face, and Casillas comes across the crown in 8th position.
It's been great, and like we did first and second, so that's good. I have to say, like knowing Leonie at the short shoot, I was happy for us, but personally I was like, she will beat me, but I had to do a great transition and the start of the run really hard, but in general I had a great race, so I'm quite happy.
What a race that was, and let's take a look at the league standings after all of that. Jean Lahair, the only athlete across the men's or women's to take the full complement of 30 points after back-to-back wins in Chicago and now Jersey. 2 second places for Leonie Perriot puts podium racing 1 and 2. And there's a 2-point gap between them. And then Georgia Taylor-Brown after a second and a third on 27 alongside Jolien Vermeulen, with Fanny Zalayan still in 5th overall, which is very impressive for the 17-year-old who managed to finish well after an accident. Jean Lahair on the top step though for this one, ran away from the field. The men's race coming up next. We'll see you soon. The women have raced and the leaderboard has changed, and now it is time to get straight into the men's racing here in Jersey. It'll be the 41st race in the history of Supertri, and here is the start list. Look for the Reeds, John and Taylor to be strong for podium racing, alongside Kenji Nina as well. Vasco Velasa will need a big result to launch himself into contention for the championship, as will Chongor Lehman, who also missed the race last time around. Johnny Brownlee, the big hope in an all-British Brownlee racing. There were short shoots on offer for the first swim, bike and run. Chase McQueen came out of the water just ahead of Marcus Day and was clean through transition. He picked up the first short shoot for Stars and Stripes Racing, just as Godoy did in the women's. When it came to the bike, there was a big pack coming in, and the transition was fast and frantic, and it was Chongor Lehman who picked up the other one, just denying Taylor Reid. Reid had a chance at the end of the first run as well, but it was Velasa who was too quick, picking up the first short shoot of the day for Crown Racing, just ahead of Reid and Lehman. Reid looks like he's going to lead this entire swim. He's got Chongor Lehman, the Hungarian, behind him, then Velasa, and then Mitch Kolkman and Ollie Conway are your five, and just rounding the first boy there was Mathis Beaulieu, the 21-year-old Canadian.
I don't think he's quite close enough to get back on, but let's see what he's got left in his arms. I tell you what, this third swim is absolutely brutal. However good you are at swimming, the arms feel like absolute lead as they round this final buoy here for the last time and make their way back to that rather nasty short, sharp ramp that they have to exit to get out of the water.
Lehman out of the water second, then Velasa has a little slip, doesn't matter. Kolkman in fourth and Conway in fifth, who needs a good run up the old travelator, the mountain here, to get back up onto transition level. And there he goes. And they all push up together. Conway passes Kolkman up the hill.
This is going to be a brilliant last bike and run, Will. I tell you what, this is going to come down to the wire, I believe. Let's see what happens. Transitions are going to be super important. Look at Tim Don there, shouting out his orders. He really needs a good race from Conway, preferably in the top three. He really does need vital points. Went so well in the women's, but the Brownlee team, other than Conway, are struggling here in Jersey today.
McQueen up the hill, he's past John Reed there, and there is Roberto Sanchez coming up the hill as well, and Kenji Nina behind him. So short shoots for Velasa and Lehman. 4 laps on the bike, 2 laps on the run, and someone is going to etch their names into the history books alongside basically a who's who of triathlon, of those who have raced here since all the way back in 2017. Lewis and Zafiris and Learmont, Taylor Brown, Blumenfeld, Brownlee and Alex Yee, all athletes who have stood on a podium here. And could it be Taylor Reid? Could it be Ollie Conway? Could it be Mitch Kolkman? The gap now over 20 seconds back to Beaulieu. So it's going to come from these 5 barring incident. There's Johnny Brownlee coming into transition, over a minute back.
Oh, Mitch Kolkman, he's not quite getting on. And this is watching the athletes now put their feet into their bike shoes. It's getting that timing. If you don't have them in, you're not strong on the pedals, but at the same time, you want to make...
Oh, another man down! Ooh. It's another man down, and it looks like Taylor Reid this time. He's left something behind. Nobody wants to see that. The Kiwi hits the deck, and now it's Velasa and Lehman in front.
Oh, and that's so disappointing for Taylor Reid, because he was looking to be going for his best ever result in Supertri. Let's hope he can get back on his bike really quickly, and he is. And we can see he's lost a shoe, I believe.
Here's
he has
the replay.
one.
We'll see it now. He's just lost the front wheel there, 3/4 of the way around, and down he goes. But
no.
Is he in the back of shot there?
He's got both shoes on, thankfully.
No, that's Kolkman back there, so a bit of a gap back now, and I don't know whether he's gotten back on. I hope he has got back on, but I think there he is there, so he's going to have to absolutely punch it if he's going to be any chance. But right now, Ollie Conway staring down the barrel of a first podium. Lehman wants to add another result to his second in Toronto. Velasa was third in Toronto. Both of those men have missed Chicago, and so they can launch themselves right into podium contention.
Oh, John, what a heartbreaking moment for Taylor there. He's just come through transition. He shouted a few words to you. Can you tell us what he was trying to say?
Yeah, I didn't quite hear what he said. It is heartbreaking. He's put his heart into this race, and he was doing a great job. We'll see what happens. I don't know, but it looks like he has some kind of a mechanical issue that he's dealing with right now.
And now we're hearing that Vasco Velasa has a 5-second penalty for goggles outside the box. He's going to find that out when he goes through transition again, and that could put paid to his chances, and Michael Gilliam will be unapproachable at this point.
But he does have the short shoot, so whatever time he's going to lose there, he'll gain the short shoot, but he's not going to get the advantage on the short shoot.
Speaking of unapproachable, let's approach him. Adam is with Michael Gilliam.
Well, Michael, you've just passed on the news there to Vasco as he came through that he's got a 5-second penalty. Oh, my goodness me, this is really tough.
Yeah, the day of the Titanic continues. What else can I say? You know, it's been a disaster from the moment I got out of bed this morning, and it's continued to be such.
Velasa could still win this one, there's no doubt about it, but at the moment he's trying to ditch the other two. Kolkman is putting in everything to try and stay with these guys, but a group of 3, so much easier to be quick than just when you're on your own, especially in these type of conditions. He's really pushing, whereas Velasa, well, he's in a bit of a Georgia Taylor Brown position where he wants to gap these two to make sure that he can have a clean transition and pay his penalty.
But Mitch is riding really well. He's not far off the back of the wheel of Ollie Conway now. He's just got to have a quick turn here. I don't want to make any mistakes at this point in the race, but a little bit of a risk here and there will mean that he will get back onto the wheel if possible. But I think out of these four athletes, we'd have to say Valaza, Shonga Lehman and Ollie Conway are the quicker runners, but Coltman having an absolutely brilliant Supertri debut here in Jersey.
He's in the box seat. He's got the short shoot. He doesn't have a penalty, and he's been at the front of these races before. They're off the bike now, and it's going to be a 1.6k run for all the chocolates. And Vasco Valaza, I don't know when he's going to probably pay his penalty on the first lap of the run. In Lehman goes. He gets the message. Can't hear it there, but he was getting the message from Parker Spencer. He's had a good transition, and they all have, in fact. The bike's gone down for Mitch Coltman. It's not going to matter. And out he goes. So these three, you can throw a blanket over them. Stars and Stripes, Crown Racing, and Brownlee Racing. A little bit of a shoulder there from Conway. He wants to make sure he's in decent position.
How good does Conway... I'm not being biased, Will, I promise
No, you are.
I know he races for Brownlee Racing. I know I'm British, but I'm so impressed by this 20-year-old athlete.
So, Vasco Valaza at the front. He's going to pay his penalty, then take the short shoot. So, he's going to lose 5 seconds, and then he's going to gain a couple of seconds. And then whether he can get back in touch in the last 800 metres, well, that's the question. What kind of run does he have? At the moment, Lehman's tucked in behind him. Conway's not gotten rid of either. These athletes are absolutely hammering at the front. Coltman is doing an incredible job to stay somewhat in touch. He's all by himself. He's got a big gap back to the others. In fact, it's over 30 seconds now to Taylor Reid, who is 6 seconds ahead of Mathis Beaulieu, who in turn is another 9 seconds ahead of Chase McQueen, with Roberto Sanchez in 8th position, also 52 seconds back from Nina, and then John Reid, who is seeing his chances of the championship stay away. You can see Vasco Valaza say, am I ready to pay it now? He is. He pays it at the penalty box. He waits for the 5 seconds. Then he's going to take the short shoot. Can he get back in touch? It's a long 5 seconds. It felt long. Now he takes the short shoot. And meanwhile, the short shoot for Lehman's put him in front. So there's gaps between each now. And there's big gaps. And MG will not be liking this. He has words for Vasco. Wants to push back up on him. Lehman has got a 3-second advantage. So let's see. As he goes past Ollie Conway, can he run down Chong or Lehman? I'm not sure that he can. That's a big gap, and he's got about 600, 700 metres to go now.
He is absolutely flying. This is an all-out sprint for Vasco Valaza to the finish line, but I tell you what, Lehman out in front is looking so strong right now.
He is, but he's putting it in. He looked like this all the time, though. That gap's getting smaller. There's still space to go here. Eliminations for Ricardo Batista, for Luke Holmes and Carter Stuhlmacher, so less athletes eliminated. At the front now, though, the gap is getting smaller, I believe it is. Vasco Valaza on the second lap of the run, 500 metres to go. He's gapped Conway. Conway's going to have to settle for third.
He's leaving absolutely nothing out on this course, Vasco Valaza. I think he's going to be dreading the meeting he has with MG at the end of this race, and he's doing everything he can to try and get back on to the heels of the Hungarian.
I don't know that it's going to be enough, though. Chong or Lehman, he came second in Toronto. He's putting in the big ones. Vasco Valaza's coming down the hill behind him. He'll have a look behind him, but it's not going to be. It's going to be too late. It's going to be the Hungarian, Chong or Lehman, a first-time winner in Super League Triathlon 6 years after his debut. Finishes second. Now he wins. The big crowd in Jersey loves every minute. Stars and Stripes on top. Valaza, all hard to finish second. And a best result in a string of great results for Ollie Conway to finish on the podium as well. And the page as well and truly turned in terms of who's on top in Supertri in 2025. And this time, it's Chong or Lehman.
To be honest, I can't really believe what just happened. I still did not realize it. Like, winning a Supertri race, it's huge, and I had a pretty good weekend last weekend in Karlovy Vary, and I was just like, go whatever I left in the tank. But I was just so happy I could be in the front, and then I was like, now I can fight for the podium, and then I can fight for the first place. So it was just a dream becoming reality.
A worthy winner there, Chongor Lehman, and he deserves that 6 long years after his debut. He takes the win and he takes the championship lead, if you don't mind, the 26-year-old Hungarian. 2 points ahead heading into Toulouse, where there is extra points on offer, so certainly a lot of work to do still. Vasco Valaza has a third in Toronto and picks up a second in Jersey to go to 27. Alberto Gonzalez Garcia wasn't here. He stays on 27 but drops to third overall. Disappointing result for Ricardo Bautista from Crown Racing. He drops way down, but all hugs and all smiles for Chongor Lehman, who wins in front of this incredible Jersey crowd who turned out despite the tempest this morning here on the island. One of the great sporting capitals just 14 miles off the coast of France. And now, after all of that, have a look at Podium Racing, who have one hand on the team's title, having extended their lead. It was just 8 points heading into Jersey, and it is much, much more heading on the way out after putting 30 points onto Crown Racing and 20 onto Brownlee Racing, who had a better time out this time. And that wraps us up from here at the spiritual home of Supertri. It is another trip to Jersey. We hope to be back again next year, and we move on to the grand final in Toulouse in 2 weeks' time.